The folks at Jinko Fishing aren't just bringing you low budget live, they're also bringing you sweet deals to their website. They want you to save money by using code LBL25. You not only let them know you're a low lifer, but you get 25% off of almost everything on the site, from their rods to their crankbaits, their hair jigs, their trimmer head, them booty shaker swim baits. I'm on that CD2 bite right now, that little square bill, because I'm here to make cranking great again. I love to wind the plug around. JinkoFishing.com is where you can use code LBL25. And we thank the folks at Jinko Fishing for bringing you low budget live. Hang the dadgum banner. The Bassmaster Classic winning Express X21 Pro. That's what I like to run with that 250 Yamaha show on the back of that bad boy. Don't just take my word for it. Come check them out. The Bassmaster Classic this week, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm doing a podcast in their booth at 1 p.m. on Saturday, but come talk boats, crawl around in them. I bet they'll even let you leave with one if you, talk to them right and pay. Express Boats. We'll see you out there in Fort Worth. Building excitement since 1966. Uh-oh. There's a guest upon us.
All the way.
Dixon, Tennessee. Highway 64. You probably didn't. Did you come down 64 at any point today? No,
I did not.
43. Well, you know, Ben, this song here, the lowlifers can hear it live this week. This is 64. Do you know this song?
I do.
You know it? Do you know it good enough to play it live?
I hope so. We will see. There's a good chance I don't.
Little vodka will straighten her out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I can't go another mile. Throw them a curve. Sometimes you got to throw them a curve. No Biloxi Blues this week.
They'll have to join us at Birdie's Social Club.
That's Ben's part.
I'm slowly losing sight.
There he is.
All 64 tonight.
There we go. Low budget live, the not so live variety from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill here in beautiful southern Middle Tennessee. And I am very excited because I've got my dear friend Benny Ballou right here, Mr. Benjamin himself, in the Bar and Grill.
I'm pretty tickled about it myself. Like, I feel like this is how you've made it in the fishing industry. Is your own Low Budget Live with Luke Duncan.
This is how you get on the D list. Like, you were probably making your way up, you're on TV, you're doing all of it, and then you did this and just ruined it all.
Nah,
you ruined it
not
all.
yet.
Get kicked off the Outdoor Channel by morning.
Depends on what I say.
Kicked off by the morning. So Ben and the other part of the percussion team, I guess, keeping the groove in the band, that
the back line, if you will,
the back line of should we say infamous Fat Rascals? I think so. Infamous. The band that will be performing at the Classic. We were just in here being a garage band, truly a garage band, earlier today, getting some practice in for March 22nd. You're listening to the podcast for Monday, March the 17th right now. Classic week.
It's the Catalina wine mixer.
It is Classic week, baby. And Ben, who has now started a new podcast, which we'll get into, he said, dude, let's lay something down. I'm like, let's do that. Let's do an in-person. And if any of you low-lifers that have watched this for any amount of time, my in-person interviews, conversations with folks are always my favorite. Yeah, the Zoom ones or whatever, they work. That's what a lot of folks do. It's what you're doing.
It's what I'm doing.
But the in-person ones, man, are so much more fun. So I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah. I mean, not too far of a drive. Like it's not like I had to
bad. We
travel
should do it
too
more.
far.
No doubt about it. And for those of you, if you don't know Ben, you're like, who is this bass playing mystery man? Well, bass playing comes after bass catching for Ben Belo. So Ben Belo is co-host of Fishing University with old Charles Ingram.
I am.
And he's doing the TV thing, and you do fish tournaments.
I do.
Like that's your passion, right? Like that's what it all started from. We've talked about that before, but kind of explain how you go from tournament fisherman with the dream of going to the classic. Because I said this last week on the Thursday show. Everybody has a definition of making it, right? So for me, when I was a kid, it was like, man, I'm gonna fish the classic, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. I never had any of this that I do on my bingo card. But for me, I'm very fulfilled. Like this is cool. Like life is very cool. Like we're fixing to do a live podcast at the Classic in front of a lot of low lifers. And then we're going to get to play music with some very cool musical people that we get to call friends. And
some musical friends that are a lot better than you and I.
No doubt about that. Thank God for them also in that. But I did. That was kind of the topic last week on Thursday of the Low Budget Light was, and I asked for people, and they did. So many people, I appreciate y'all commenting what their idea of making it in life or in fishing is, because, you see negativity, like when all the DQ stuff was going on, people were saying, well, people are just jealous because that guy made it. And I'm like, well, define making it, because, dude, it all comes down to personal, goals, I would say. So, but you told me, kind of going back to your story, being a pro fisherman has always been way up there on the list for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I've always wanted, I've had two passions in my life: agriculture and fishing.
Growing weed. Start this thing off horrible.
Cattle farming. It was kind of always.
That was a joke. Nobody, no sponsors.
Joking.
No sponsors. Drop Ben Fishing University.
Boy, this thing started off in a shitter, hasn't it?
I mean, it happens.
Here we are. No.
Sorry, buddy.
Livestock, my man. Livestock.
Like emus?
Close.
Okay.
Close. Ostriches. Watusi cattle.
Okay. Watusis.
Yeah. No, I always grew up in the cattle business. Got a ag business degree from University of Tennessee at Martin. And we always had farm ponds, and my granddad stocked one of them. And I love fishing. Ever since there's a picture of me in my diaper with a big thing of bluegill held
That's
up
cool.
at 2 years old. And, fishing, hunting, I just love being outside doing whatever. And when I went to school at UT, well, back up just a little bit, I wanted to buy a bass boat at 17. I got hardcore into bass fishing, reading everything I could read. Read some stuff about this guy named Charlie Ingram, in the Bassmaster leather-bound books that they used to send out.
Knock the dust off of it a little bit.
Yeah. And loved knowing, learning about bass fishing. So fished my first tournament when I was 15, just a little local deal on Defeated Creek on Cordell Hull Lake.
Okay.
Little Thursday afternoon deal. And I wanted to buy a boat. And my parents are like, you're 17. We're not buying you a boat. We don't have a boat ourselves.
Man, things have changed.
Yeah. Tell me about it. And so they're like, I'm like, well, I want to buy one. They're like, okay, figure out. So I go to putting a bunch of numbers together, and I draw up this business plan at 17 years old on how I could buy feeder calves. And
come on,
now they, had a line of credit or whatever and lent me the money to buy these calves. But I went out and I bought 50 feeder calves, got them all healthy, straightened them out, turned them out, fed them every day, did the whole deal, made $5,000 in 6 weeks. Bought a 1988 Stratus 285.
Come on.
With a 150 Johnson.
Golly.
At 17 years old.
It smoked too.
Oh,
it smoked.
Yes. I was telling somebody just this week, the main thing I miss about old school bass fishing, I'm not bitching about forward facing sonar, I don't mind staring at a screen, is the smell.
Smell, baby.
The smell of a two-stroke outboard.
Yeah.
So
you still get a few of those at the ABTs, so you still get a little bit, not as much of it.
Oh,
but there's still a few. But man, those old Bass Club days and just that smell was that's nostalgia, dude.
Like a frosty March morning when they're cold and won't start.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, cold collar.
Yes.
And you're revving it up. What's that little tab you kind of pulled up on the throttle body, or the choke,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
fast strike.
Yeah. So I started fishing tournaments by myself at 17.
We've all been in that situation where maybe we left our rain suit in the truck and a thunderstorm blows in and you get completely drenched. Or maybe you got a really terrible rain suit and you get wet and your buddy has got a gill rain suit and you're super jealous and you're like, man, if only I could buy one of those for being a lowlifer, maybe get a discount. Well, you can. LBL 20 is how you're going to save at gillfishing.com on all their amazing outdoor gear, including that Apex rain suit that, in my opinion, is one of the best on the market right now. LBL 20 at gillfishing.com. Pro Guide Batteries, ProGuideBatteries.com. Some of the best batteries in the marine industry. These guys have been in business for over 40 years. They are trusted by OEM boat manufacturers. They've got you covered from lead acid to AGM all the way to their lithium line. Super affordable and fantastic quality. They've even got a new line of chargers. Go check them out. ProGuideBatteries.com. Use code LBL10 to save money at checkout. And last but not least, where can you find this little beast right here exclusively? Bait-works.com, bait-wrx.com, the online home of the LOB Power Finesse Jigs. Got the LBL logo right there on the package. You can use code Duncan-10 at checkout to save money. They're also going to be at the Bassmaster Classic with a booth. Come see us. I'll be there peddling jigs for sure. Bait-works.com, Duncan-10. So your dad wasn't into it at all then?
No, he loves playing golf, loves playing music. That's where I got my love of music.
But he don't care anything about it.
No.
What about hunting? Was he into that too?
Hated it.
No kidding.
Would take me. Like, I've got the best dad in the whole entire world.
Yeah.
Has always supported my passions or whatever I wanted to do. But no, took me hunting. He would just like sit in a truck. And I would be 14 years old. He hates getting up early, hates it being cold. He's a golfer and likes playing music, which I enjoy both of those too. But, yeah.
That's cool.
My granddad actually had fished some tournaments back in the 80s a little bit, and that's who I kind of got my love of fishing for.
So really all from a farm pond turned into all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's just full bore. It is your life.
Full bore
and you kind of married into it too. Like we'll get there, but like you really jumped in with Miss Anna.
I did.
When you guys got married, because especially being Middle Tennessee guys, like we are, Charlie Ingram, growing up, I mean, my dad and Charlie were friends. They turkey hunted together some, but Charlie won, was it 4 Bassmasters? And it was like in a row, right? Like
he won,
back to back.
He won 3 in the same season.
That's right. 3 in the same season.
Yeah.
And dude, and it was in the 80s, but that was like legendary stuff. So Charlie growing up, just down the road from him, Charlie was like this larger than life fishing hero in Middle Tennessee for sure. Him and Ray Brazier, who hosted Fishing University with Charlie for a number of years before you got involved. Like those guys, like Ray doesn't get enough credit in my story at all in life. And I tell him this every chance I get, but Ray Brazier, who's from Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, where I'm from, and he fished so many tournaments, man. And he worked for Triton Boats back in the day, and he worked for Honda Marine, and he worked for Mercury Motors, and he's been around. And my dad used to tell me, hey, model yourself after him. He's got all these sponsors. And Ray, when I was like 15, would take me to trade shows. He got me my first ever sponsor with All Pro rods back in the day. I was like a 16-year-old kid getting 20 rods for free, rolling up in the garage. I thought I was a stud puppy.
Wow.
Let me tell you. But he taught me how to work shows and how to be available. Ray and Charlie. He introduced me to Charlie back then. I was like, oh my gosh, Charlie Ingram. Then you figure out it's just Charlie.
It's
just Charlie. He called me Lucifer. I was like, Lucifer? He's always got a nickname for somebody. But yeah, those two guys were like, being a bass fisherman in Middle Tennessee, like they were two dudes that I just always looked up to so much. And then lo and behold, I meet you because you get in this industry. We actually met on an airplane.
We did.
Just a few years ago, which was crazy because we lived close to each other and got to be good friends since. But yeah, had you not entered that world, I mean, of the TV side, because I never really, like, we didn't fish tournaments against each other. Like you're a little younger than I am, and and so you marry Anna, who's Charlie Ingram's daughter.
Well, let me back up.
Let's back up a few years, but.
So I'm in college. Went to UT Martin, and I started the college team there. So my boat blew up like midway through my freshman year or whatever. I didn't have the money.
The Stratus.
The Stratus.
Okay.
Yeah, that GT 150 Johnson popped, like as they do. And so didn't have the money to fix it. So I sold it and I started fishing co-anglers on BFLs.
Okay.
Like 18, 19 years old. The most redneck love story in the whole entire world. I meet my current wife, Anna Ballou. She don't like it when I say my current wife.
Hey, look, dude, sometimes the path in life goes another direction first. I have one of those former wives, too.
Yeah.
I have a current wife. The triple threat is current wife.
Yeah.
Former wife sucks. Continue. Former wife, the devil. Continue.
I'm not going to go that. We got to bring her back in. We got to bring her back in here, Luke. Oh, my wife is going
Low budget live.
Yeah, here we are. So
I'm just trying to clarify. There's a lot to the story.
No, it is.
There's a lot
It
to
is.
everybody's story, Ben Belo.
So-
That's the great thing about life.
I meet my wife, the most redneck love story ever, at the tractor pull at Chapel Hill.
Come on.
Yeah, the Lions Club Super Pull of the South. If you've never had a lot of fun in your life, if you want to go watch tractors and drink beer,
That's it.
that's the place to be.
Move.
So she was dating my fraternity brother.
You, homewrecker.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Wah, wah, wee, wah.
And I'm like, dude, that's Charlie Ingram's daughter. I need to go meet her. Now, not the fact that she's really good looking and blonde, right? It wasn't that.
Yeah, you're overmarried. But
100%.
we both are.
100%. But no, I'm like, that's Charlie Ingram's daughter. I need to go meet her. So walked up, a bunch of us, went to college together, a bunch of fraternity brothers, and we're hanging out, and, beverages had been consumed. And so I meet this girl. We add each other on Facebook because that's what you did in 2000, seven, whatever year this was.
Sliding them DMs, isn't you?
Well, not. She's dating my fraternity brother. Like all's good. Well, our paths kind of separated a bit for a few years, and then I got when Snapchat came out. I was single.
hell.
I was single, and I got
Ready to mingle.
ready to mingle. I was, and at that point, I was in the cattle business. I run my own cows, and then I worked in the livestock insurance business. So I actually insured cattle and horses and pigs and all kinds of about $500,000 worth of monkeys in East Tennessee.
We're coming back to that. Continue. Because I love the show Chimp Crazy. So continue. I got to hear about this.
So
I'm writing that down. Monkeys.
yeah, chimps. So I get this ad says Anna Ingram adds me on Snapchat. The people you may know. Okay. Well, I'm coming home from a trade show in Murfreesboro, and
That's what you were going through right there when she did that.
oh, kinda. She was dating a dude at the time. Like,
Damn.
I know.
Hurdles. Everywhere a hurdle.
Dude, we broke down. I mean, we're like
Hurdles.
a Kool-Aid man back here. We broke down walls. Love knows no bounds, Luke. So,
That's what I hear.
I'm shopping at a Western store. Again, I'm in the cattle business. I've got cows. I ride horses. I'm team roping, like all this stuff. And I find this paisley ass Western shirt. I mean, look like something a Mennonite would wear to bed. I mean, ugly. And I Snapchatted it from the Boot Barn in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Okay.
And luckily her name started with an A because I sent it to no less than 25 girls. Straight up.
Dude, does Anna know this part of the story?
Oh, yeah.
Thank
She
God.
knows.
All right, continue.
You know. So
You were throwing darts, though, son.
oh, dude.
You were sending it.
I was casting abroad.
That was an Alabama rig. Two of them.
Seven
put
wire.
Together. Yeah.
7 wire. So she messages me back and she's like, "That's the ugliest shirt I've ever seen." And I'm like, "Well, how about this one?" And snapped her again. Didn't even have her number. And I think that was in 2015, and we've not talked a single day since then.
Uh-oh.
Like-
It all started at the Boot Barn.
Well, it all started at the Chapel Hill Tractor Pull, and
But the Boot Barn
Boot
was
Barn,
really kind
yeah.
of put it together.
Yeah,
Thank goodness she answered first.
I've still got that paisley ass shirt.
You bought it.
I bought it.
You need to
I did.
frame it.
Yeah.
I would. I'd frame it.
I'll tell you what. I may wear it to the low budget
Please do.
live
Live at Birdie's Social Club?
Birdie's Social Club in Fort Worth, Texas.
8 p.m., March 22nd.
We'll be there with bells on.
We'll be there, damn sure, with something on. A Paisley shirt, sound like.
Sound like I'll wear a Paisley shirt.
So y'all started talking 10 years ago then. Mm-hmm. How long y'all been married?
9.
Okay. Quick, son.
Dude.
You don't waste no time, dude. You put the trolling on high and you get after it.
When you know.
I'm with that. Yeah. Same.
So, again, at that point, I'd not fished in 5 or 6 years.
Oh, like cold turkey.
Like cold turkey.
Okay. So once the boat was gone, you just
I actually had bought one in college.
Fish co-angler, but you didn't.
Yeah. I bought another boat, a couple of boats in college. I'd started working for a marine dealership there in Nashville, Anderson Marine.
Okay.
And had started fishing BFLs as a boater. I bought a skeeter, and then I got a pro deal on a Champion in 2009, right before they went bankrupt. Yeah.
Hey, we'd like to sponsor you. Also, we're not going to be here next year.
Yeah. I mean,
it happens.
But, qualified for the Bass, this is the Bassmaster weekend series when ABA's, you could get the classic or whatever. And had, a little bit of success, but was fishing all I could. And then, had a kid and got a job and just sold my boat, and the economy was tanked. And, I'm 23 years old and working a job selling insurance and with a, year-old son, don't have time to fish anymore.
Yep.
So
reality,
life hits.
Yep.
So that I got out of fishing for about 7 years. Completely.
No kidding.
Yeah. Was just in cattle and, just didn't have enough time to fish. So Anna and I start dating. Like, immediately after, we started talking right there on the Snapchat. The Snapchat. That's how old I am.
The Snap, as the kids call it, on Snap.
I'm like a crackhead being back around his old friends because Charlie, I get to hang out with Charlie. And Charlie's like, oh, yeah, here's Larry Nixon. And he's talking to Larry Nixon.
Oh, yeah.
And
like he's got the contact list in bass fishing of the OG legends.
Yes.
For sure. Fritz.
And all the old school people that I've looked up at, that I've read about for 100 years. And I'm like, okay, I was team roping a bunch, and it gotten decent. I wasn't great, but team roping, fishing, and golf's like the only thing you can, other than maybe sex, you can be good at and not really like. I completely messed it up.
You did mess that up.
I completely. You can.
Clip that.
I
wish I had a producer. Clip that. No, that's getting clipped. That's getting clipped. I pray that I find that again.
I really hope we're going to cut that out. We're going to redo this. Team roping, sex, and golf is the only thing you ain't got to be good at to like.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Now you brought it around.
Now we're going to bring it around. Yes, this is going to be a complete cluster.
Yeah. I love it, though. I love it.
So
what's good about the in-person stuff?
I got to the point to where, like, I've always been decent at a lot of things. I can play bass decently. I'm not great. I can sing a little bit. I can play golf. I shot under par one time. Like, could probably have walked on in college, but have been, like, the worst golfer there. Played music, hunted, fished, team rope, but, like, I've never been great at anything. So I talked
except for
what?
Making sweet, sweet love, dude. You already told us.
I don't know what I said. It was not whatever I said was. We'll have to get Anna on here next time.
Listen, I don't know. The world's ready for that. What was that show, Love Line, on MTV, where people called in with their love life questions?
Oh, I don't know.
That from MTV?
I don't think I missed
Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew back in the day. Yeah, we might have to start Love Line and Bass. Broken line.
Broken love. Oh, shit.
Damn. Hope you didn't have any sponsors.
Yeah, well, if I didn't, I won't have any now for damn sure. So, anywho, I've always wanted to be really good at something. And Anna's like, look, Dad's getting a little older. He needs, there's no reason to waste his contacts that he has in the industry. If you want to go back to fishing, then I bet we can do that. I'm like, well, I either need to spend $20,000 on a new team roping horse, or I can sell my team roping horse and go all in on bass fishing. And that's what I did.
Okay.
So Charlie sold me his boat, and he would sell me his boat every year. When he got done with it, I'd keep it a year, and then I would sell it, and kind of was able to make a little bit of money there. So then I started helping him and Ray a little bit, trying to learn a little bit about social media, trying to like running camera boats for them and that kind of thing. And then in 2021, kind of in like right after COVID, on a Wednesday, Charlie Ingram calls me, and he said, "Hey, at this point, Anna and I's married. We've been married 2 years, I guess. No, been married 4 years, 5 years at this point." And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing next week?" I'm like, "Well, I'm working. I was still in the livestock insurance business, but I was fishing like all the time, fishing BFLs, ABAs. Like COVID hit, and I fished 6 days a week.
Like crazy, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was nuts." So he says, "Yeah, let's. What are you doing next week?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm working." He said, "Well, Ray has got something wrong with him. He can't go film. We've got 2 shows to film next week, and I need you to go." I'm like, "Who's Ben Belo? Like, why would anybody want to watch me fish? Like, I don't, okay.
Yeah.
But all right." So we leave, go to Ashland, Wisconsin, like 14 hours up there. I know nothing about being on TV. My goofy ass is like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I mean, it's just. So get back from there, had a blast, caught some smallmouth on, drive all the way up there. The wind blows like 2 days that we're supposed to film. We got to fish for like 6 hours.
But the fishing was probably so good, y'all got to make a show.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I think I only caught like 3 or 4.
But enough for a show.
Enough that we made a show. So we get back, and Ray's still not feeling well. Don't know exactly what's going on. He don't know if he's having a heart attack or, serious heart problems or serious health problems. So Ray calls me, and he said, "Hey," I'd already filmed like 2 more shows at that point. Like I'd told my boss, "Hey, I'm going to take off for a week or 2. I'll get my stuff done." I was remote anyway with my livestock insurance job. And Ray calls, and he says, "Hey, why don't you just buy this from me?" And made me a deal I couldn't refuse. And then I owned a fishing television show with my father-in-law.
So let's get into that. How is that dynamic? Because Charlie's a veteran. He's been around the industry. And I don't know how to say this other than setting his ways a little bit. Charles is setting his ways. Charles is setting his ways. But how does that dynamic work? Because, man, I could have never in a million years worked with my dad. So working with a father-in-law, like how is that dynamic for y'all? I don't know that I've ever got to experience it like you two in a work environment together. You know what I mean? How does that work? Does it make Christmas weird sometimes? Are y'all like, "Well, dang it, we didn't get the show done like we wanted to"? Like, do y'all bicker like that? Or how does the relationship work?
It's ever evolving.
Okay.
So it's tough at times because you can't get away from it. Like you can't, when we're at dinner, the 1 night a week or 2 nights a week that we all go to dinner, we're talking about business sometimes, even though, I've worked 80 hours this week trying to make his
Figure
TV
it
show
out.
go.
Yeah.
We're working at dinner because we're pitching ideas off each other. Obviously would not be anywhere where I am without him.
Yeah.
And he's
It's a great opportunity.
one of the best people I've ever been around.
Oh.
Very set in his ways, very stubborn.
But cares for people.
But
and opens a lot of doors.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
Tremendously. And has really been a lot more open with my ideas and stuff than I really thought he would be.
Because you've tried, I mean, you and I bounce a lot of stuff off each other, and I'm so grateful for friends like you and so many others that I have that do similar things and work in this industry to bounce things off of and ideas. And you and I talk a good bit about, TV is a weird medium, right? Like it is, because with everything going streaming and cable, people, we actually talked about this earlier today, people are cutting the cord. Things are changing. You guys have been on the Outdoor Channel for a long time. You're doing some other things in addition to that now as well. But you've had a focus on social media, trying to change it up, even trying to change up like the format of the show a little bit because they had done the same thing for a while.
Right. Yeah. Charlie and Ray had done the same show for 15 years, and it was just time to kind of do an update.
Yeah.
And I come in and we changed the way the show looked. If you've watched our show out there, the show has changed quite a bit in the last few years. I personally think it's quite a bit better. Just the fact of we've updated it, it's more modern, that kind of thing. And it always been a competition. And then this year we took the competition out. I mean, nobody really cares if Charlie beats me or if I beat Charlie.
Yeah.
What I want to watch is I want to learn how to catch more fish. I'm just a normal dude that's a consistently mediocre bass fisherman. Like I do pretty good at some tournaments. I suck really bad at a few tournaments, but most of the time I'm right there kind of around a check line, or, most time I'm one bite away from getting a check.
Same.
Yeah. I'm a consistently mediocre fisherman. So I wanted to do more teaching and tell people more about, how to catch more fish. And in the past, 5 years since I've been doing this, bass fishing's been my life completely, like immersed in the sport, on the business side of things. People's like, oh, you're a professional fisherman. I'm like, no, I'm a TV show host and a TV show producer. There's guys out there that catch bass for a living. I make a TV show. There's a big difference.
Yeah, there is a difference. There's a difference in what you do. There's a difference in like influencers. There's a difference in YouTubers that educate, entertain, and then there's a difference in stone cold dudes that just fish for a living. We get to make a living in fishing, right? Which again, going back to that Thursday show is kind of what I talked about, but not making a living catching bass necessarily, and I'm blessed to be able to do that just like you are, but in no way, shape, form, or fashion. And I get it all the time, especially locally. People are like, man, you still fishing all them tournaments? They'd have no clue the traveling circus life that I do live. And it's like, yeah, man. I just go on like, yeah. Right. I'm like, good, man. Glad to see you doing good. And you're like, yeah, man. High five. Like, I'm going to go back and record a podcast in the shop. But they have no clue, just because I did it for so long, and I miss it. I miss fishing tournaments. Don't get me wrong. My schedule's so crazy now. Like I'm working, I think this year is 22 weekends. 22 weekends out of 52 will be spent working tournaments. So it's hard to fish tournaments, unfortunately. So I fish during the week a lot when there aren't as many tournaments, except little fruit jars in the summertime. But yeah, man, I think, again, going back to that, making it, like if you could tell 17-year-old you, hey, dude, we're not going to go to the Bassmaster Classic necessarily. And I know you're still trying. Like you fished Federation event this week. You're going to pop in and out of tournaments. But 17-year-old you would probably think it's pretty damn cool that you're on the Outdoor Channel. For sure. And the people I've been able to meet, and I'm on Low Budget Live with Luke Dutch. I mean, dude, count your lucky stars.
I know.
Let's be honest. You might have lost every sponsor you had by doing it, but you're here. You made it.
I'm here.
Classic. Dude, you're doing a special edition classic in-person episode.
This is
classic
true.
week.
This is true.
This kicks off all the good podcasts this week.
We're gonna have a lot of fun this week.
We're gonna have a lot of fun, indeed. What is the coolest thing other than being on Low Budget Live? And checks in the mail for saying that. What's the coolest thing about or that has happened to you since hosting the show? Like somebody you've met, a cool experience on camera,
It's a good question. Probably getting to fish with guys that I've looked up to my entire life. I mean, I've been in the boat with Ott Defoe.
Yeah.
I've been in the boat
Animal.
with John Cruz.
Yeah.
And
Little Hulkster.
Yeah.
I call him.
The Little Hulk.
Little Hulkster.
Wes Logan, Kyle Welcher, Jeremy Lawyer, the list goes on and on. And getting to fish with those guys is super cool. Probably the coolest thing is when people ask me, like, hey, what do you do? Like, that's the coolest thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I get to fish and film it.
This sounds weird, but I own a fishing television show. And not one time has anybody been like, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Everybody's like,
not to your face.
That's pretty. Right.
There's probably some guy that's like an accountant, and he's like, what an idiot. What's that? What's fishing? But no, it's freaking, probably stops people in their tracks a lot. I've There's nothing more aggravating than trying to find a good place to stay when you're on the road, especially when you're towing a boat. And that problem will continue to exist. But if you're on Pickwick Lake, I've got a solution for you, especially on the lower end around Counts, Tennessee. Pickwick Lake Lodge is open and ready for your business. Designed by fishermen, for fishermen, covered boat parking so you can work on your tackle, keep your boat in the dry. You don't have to worry about it. Suite style rooms, and 1.5 miles from Pickwick Land and State Park, where most tournaments go out of. PickwickLakeLodge.com is where it's at. Bass Cash Bash. The Bass Cash Bash is where they're giving out almost $3 million in cash and prizes for catching a tagged bass on a number of fisheries across the southern United States. Pickwick, Gunnersville, Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend, the Coosa River, Caddo Lake in Louisiana. These bass have been caught, tagged, and re-released, and they have cash and prizes assigned to them. You get on their website, you pay an entry fee. Don't be that guy. Don't catch one and be like, oh, this has got a tag in it, and it costs you a truck. I know a guy that won a Phoenix bass boat for catching a tagged bass on Gunnersville, and that's pretty daggum cool. BassCashBash.com is where you can find out all about it. Fat Cat and I joked a bunch when we went to Wisconsin all the time. Flew in and out of Milwaukee, and I'd go get a rental car. Nicest people in the world. See the same ladies all the time for years going up there, right? Never knew who I was. Never like recognized the face. Like I go 7 times a year, and they're like, oh, what are you in for? And you're like, if you ever said, oh, I work for a fishing tournament, which most times be like, work.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what do you do for work? And you're like, sales. What do you sell? You're like, shoes, just like to make it go. But one time I did, I was like, oh, I host this fishing. They're like, oh, a movie star. And you're like, it's not like that.
Not
exactly. But I imagine you get that when you go, yeah, I got a TV show. Because, dude, TV still is the coolest thing in the world to me. I know it's a change in medium now because the term being on TV has changed because of YouTube and all the streaming stuff. But during MPFL Live last weekend, Marissa said her sister was here and we were streaming on YouTube. So it's on the TV, right? Mm-hmm. So they walk in and they're like, she walks in and then my stepson Wes walked in and they're like, Luke's on TV? And I'm like, host the Alabama Bass Trails TV show. It's on TV all the time. A lot of commercials I filmed over the years, different things. But the term TV, like people do lose their crap about it because, dude, that's when you're, especially when we all had like 12 channels back in the day. It's like, oh my God, that guy's on TV. Or if you ever saw some, dude, you go to Nashville and you see a dude that's on like Channel 2 News, Bob Mueller. You kidding me right now? You're like, oh my God, that guy's on TV.
He's on TV.
Yeah, I'm sure you get some wild reactions when you tell, especially people not in our world.
Right.
Yeah, I host a TV show.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is we took a pie and for 60 years, from the 40s to, 2000 or a little after, maybe even longer than that, you had print, newspapers and magazines, you had radio, and you had television. And that was it. There was no other way that people got information. There's no other way that they can.
They can't solicit it anymore.
We're not talking about information here. This could get bad.
That's all you get nervous, dude. I can't talk about it for 3 weeks straight. Yeah. I can't talk about it.
Just leave it be.
This is what it is.
But that's the only way they consumed media. That's the only way that advertisers had.
Yeah.
To get their products out there. Well, starting with the internet, like now we've took that same piece of pie and where it used to have 3 different slices, now it's got 300 slices.
Yeah.
You've got podcasts, you've got, you still have TV, you still have all this stuff, but you've got YouTube, and then you've got, social media, and then you've got Google ads, and there's all these different ways that companies can get out there. TV's still a big one.
Oh yeah,
it's
people are lazy. Right at the end of the day, they're still the regular cable viewer. Yep. They're still, especially a certain demographic.
You're lazy people that watch TV.
No, I'm saying that they're like, well, I'm not gonna stream this, or they're confused by it. I can remember my dad, man. He still had cable, and then he streamed everything. Like before he passed, he was like, have you seen this Hulu's? And I'm like, Dad, why do you still have a Spectrum box in here? He's like, well, I'm not going to get rid of my damn cable, but I like this. And he's like paying double. But I'm saying a lot of people don't, especially that an older demographic, they're not cutting the cord yet, right? And it still is, it's easier, right? It's just what you're used to.
Well, you don't get to make the decisions.
I guess easier is better than lazy.
Than lazy. You TV watching lazy people.
Dude, listen, don't get me down a rabbit hole about TV shows, Netflix. Like, I watch a lot of TV. Look at me. I watch a lot of TV. I watch a ton of TV.
I drive a lot.
I lay around watching a lot of TV at night.
But no, it's still a great, platform.
Sure.
We're just trying, what I'm trying to do with the Fishing University brand is expand it and try to get our message of, at the end of the day, what Charlie has always done is tried to teach people how to fish and tried to help the companies that sponsored him get their products, get their messages out there.
For sure. And he's had a lot of good partners over the years, and a lot of good sponsors on the show. How long has he been doing it in total? The Fishing University brand. I mean, dude, it's been around
38 years.
And he did Hunting University for a little bit too, and Anna was on it a lot, right?
Yeah, Hunting University and an outdoor university that had hunting and fishing on it. At one time, he was gone like 200 weeks a year between
no kidding
fishing tournaments and 3 TV shows.
200 days.
200 days a year, not 200 weeks. Yes,
dude. If he found a way to do 200 weeks.
He works hard.
Boss. He does work.
Dude, he's out of every trait that Charlie has, his work ethic and like nose to the grindstone never stops is amazing, even at almost 80 years old.
I was going to say, he's got to be getting close to 80, right? Unreal, man. Unreal. I need to do a pod with Charlie at some point.
You should.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I need to get him down here or go up there. He probably would never come to the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill. This is beneath his standards. I'll have to go track him down up your way. But yeah, it is impressive, man. He was fishing MPFL just, I guess last year, maybe.
Yeah.
Did he fish last year? I can't remember. 2
years ago, I think.
He fished He fished the inaugural season, and then I think he took a break, and then he came back and fished another year. But he's not doing any tournaments right now, is he? No. Just the show?
Yeah, he's just doing the show. And Charlie likes hunting more than he likes fishing.
Oh, yeah, always has.
So
yeah,
he's okay not fishing some tournaments and deer hunting and duck hunting and deer hunting.
I don't blame him. Sounds like a
turkey
good
hunting, the whole deal. Yeah, he likes it.
Where do you see Fishing University 5 years from now, the television show? Like where would you like to see it 5 years from now?
I want to become an outdoor media brand with focus on education. Like that's my deal. I still want the TV show there because what separates, Fishing University from an influencer is we still have a TV show. Like we're still getting in front of millions of people those lazy people that watch TV.
They're all lazy suckers.
No, we're still getting in front of millions of people, but I'm trying to diversify that as well. So I'm trying to get into, part of the reason we're here is to talk about my brand new podcast.
Yeah. Perfect segue. Yeah. I see what you did there.
Right.
I wasn't even trying to set you up on a tee, honestly.
No. Called Take It to the Bank. And there's a lot of fishing podcasts out there. Too many to...
Lots of fishing podcasts.
Lots of them. Too many, I would venture to say. There's only so many times.
There's way too many.
There's only so many
including
times.
This one, maybe. I don't know. We might have peaked.
You're an OG.
We might have peaked. I am kind of an OG.
You're the OG podcaster.
I got 8 years into this crap. I'll take the OG title. One of.
Yeah. Bass Talk Live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. BTL, definitely the OG. iClive, those are my two like OGs for sure.
But when I first started watching podcasts, it was BTL, yours, and the one Matt Airy and Brian Thrift do.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk
fish. And, there for a long time, I'd be driving in between work appointments in the insurance business, and I was listening to Bass Fishing Podcast. And then there kept being more and more and more. So I'd thought about starting a podcast for a long time. Again, just with the...
Well, that was the first conversation you and I ever had on a plane. Mm-hmm. You sat down next to me on a Southwest flight podcast. I'm like, who in the hell is this guy? And we had somebody in between us. Do you remember this?
I do.
Yeah.
We talked across them the entire...
and I can't remember male or female. It was a female?
A portly lady she was.
Okay. Well, she hated her life by the time we got to Nashville.
Her ears were bleeding.
I was on the window seat. You were grinning, and I was like, and I don't think we had met at that point at all. And I was like, hell's this some gun right here? And they're like, hey, Ben Belo. Before we ever took off, I'm like, oh shit, Ben. And we talked podcasting and all kind of stuff from Orlando to Nashville. And that lady probably walked into traffic when she was like, if they say the word shake your head again, I don't even know what this is. These crackheads.
She pretended to be asleep.
Yeah, and we talked straight up. It was one of the more rude things I've ever done. I've done some rude stuff, but she was trying to.
If you're out there watching this podcast, we apologize.
Sharon,
I'm
assuming Karen,
Denise. So
I never got her name.
No,
she wasn't a low lifer.
But the thing about it, you can only talk about DQs. You can only talk about recent tournaments so much, and that's what.
Oh yeah, it sucks sometimes.
80 or 90% of the podcast out there are talking about. It's just a bunch of buddies that are getting together and having a podcast, and some of them do a great job. I'm not talking bad about anybody's, but
we can if you want to.
I'm already going to be in enough trouble from this thing. Like
PC Ben Belo. He's like, no. He's Switzerland.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you want to, I've got some opinions.
Dude, here's the thing. To each their own. Everybody's got an audience. That's the thing. I said that on the Thursday show. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I would never watch, and I don't even understand why it has an audience. Okay?
But it has an audience.
And hey, do you, boo-boo? I don't care. There's a lot of people that go, I would never watch that idiot Luke Duncan. I see that. I've seen it. I've had them tell me that to my face.
I've read the comments.
It's fine. To each their own. But I dang sure don't think I got the best one. And I want to say that right now. Like, I don't think that what I do is any better than it. I just kind of in my own lane. Like, I just do my thing. And I'm very fortunate that people listen. But there are a lot of things out there that I go, I might not check that out. But to be fair, I'll say this. I don't listen to any fishing podcasts. Like, I told you that when you first started. I was like, dude, I don't, for fear of, and low-lifers are rolling their eyes right now. I was like, yeah, we've heard you say this before. But just out of fear of, I want my own ideas, creativity-wise and all that. It's like sitting down to write a song. I don't need to listen to 15, Leonard Skinner songs before I sit down, or it'll start sounding like Skinner. You know what I mean? So I just try to, even if it's a subconscious thing, you're like, oh my God, I love that melody. And you're like, oh, never mind, that's Sweet Home Alabama. That's why. So I just try not to listen. I'll have people comment like, dude, Matt Pangrack had such and such on today too. I'm like, I didn't know that. And Matt and I are friends. Like, we text, keep up, but I just don't. Yeah. I just kind of stay, or they'll be like, oh, well, Mercer had such and such. I'm like, okay. I don't.
You don't listen to Mercer?
No, I don't listen to Dave. Oh. I don't listen to Dave. I will say this. I did see a Dave clip with Seth Fighter this week that Fighter kind of let the air out of the Scott Martin balloon. And I've heard that that's been interesting. I've seen the clip several times, people sharing it, and you could tell Dave was like, ruh-roh. Dave's face was pretty, but I will say props to Dave for like giving him the platform to say what he said, and he kind of set him up to say it. He's like, well, can I ask who you're referring to? And he's like, and yep. Fighter bit, and went all in on it. And he's like, Matt Herron's a pretty upstanding good dude. And he's like, uh-oh. You see Dave's color left him a little bit. But no, I don't. But and look, Dave and I had our deal a few years ago, but I don't I don't listen to any of them. Mm-hmm. I really, really don't. I see clips pop up and watch them. Like, I think and I know we're totally all over the place, but you and I are both ADD a little bit. I'm worse than you. But like the serious angler guys, Bailey and that crew, they do a great job.
They do.
The young man that does the, I'll say young man. I'm old, so I can say it. Tackle Talk podcast. Andrew do a great job. Like, I see his clips. Like he said, he does a fantastic job, man. And there's like I said, there's an audience for everybody. And there's a lot of people. Those dudes work. Those younger guys, especially, like, they work really, really hard at it. So I don't ever want to feel like I'm throwing shade at everybody, because it's not the case. I don't think that like you said, I'm an OG. I'm a grumpy OG as well.
You're well on your way to being Charlie Ingram.
Oh, buddy, you ain't seen shit. Charlie ain't got shit on me. You didn't know Marty Duncan. I got a lot of Marty Duncan in me, and whew, he could be an ornery turd when he wanted to be. Trust me. But yeah, man, I think we say all that to say you decided to start a podcast.
I do.
We talked about, and that was the first conversation we had when you came up with this idea, man. And I told you, I'm like, no, that's if you're gonna come into the space, because the space is, I don't want to say it's full, but it's crowded space. You got to have something different, and you got that. So Take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank. My deal is I love listening to podcasts. I love hearing, you get to know people.
Yeah.
Like the reason I sat down and shook your hand there was I felt like I knew you.
Yeah,
from
man.
listening
And
to
I
your
get that from
podcast.
people a
Right.
lot. Yeah, for sure.
And I enjoy that part. But what I really want to do is catch more damn bass
Yeah, same.
and try to win bass tournaments. And what I have learned in the past 5 years of doing this TV show, and we've traveled all over the country from, the Canadian border down to Florida to West Texas, everywhere in between, is bass act differently in different parts of the world.
Yeah,
Different parts
regionally.
of the-
Yeah, for sure.
The U.S. And there's completely different regions. So Florida and, grass lakes down there are a beast of their own. Mm-hmm. So are herring lakes. Bass act differently on herring lakes than they do anywhere else. Highland Reservoir bass are different. Mm-hmm. Current-based fish, be it the Coosa River or the Tennessee River, those fish act completely different.
Yep.
Texas has a kind of a blend of all of them.
Yep.
Northern smallmouth act completely different.
Yep.
So luckily with the people that I know, I've been able to talk to the top level pros in all these different regions. And I'm doing 2 a week, drops on Tuesdays and Fridays. And we're going through every single month and we're taking 7 regions and we're breaking them down with the people that are from there. So Brandon Cobb won an Elite Series on a herring lake, almost won a FLW Cup on a herring lake from South Carolina. We're talking about with him once a month on how to catch fish on a herring lake.
So that's the frequency once a month with the certain regional expert.
Yeah, I'm doing 2 a week.
But the rotation.
But the
of guys.
rotation.
Okay.
So, the Brandon Brandon Cobb podcast just drops today actually, which is we're on Friday before Sunday.
You got people all.
I'm all
you got
crazy.
people all- This
It's
is the podcast for Monday, March the 17th. This is Classic Week, Ben. You got to pretend.
Yeah, my bad. I'm on TV. I should know that. But the podcast that's there with Brandon Cobb, we're talking about how to catch fish in March on herring lakes because it changes. You don't catch a fish the same way on the Tennessee River in July as you do in March.
True.
So we're taking different regions of the country every single week, and there's no bullshit. We're not talking about disqualifications. I'm going to leave that to
Are you sorry? Are you calling what I do here bullshit?
No, I'm
That's
saying
a good way to get uninvited from Low Budget Live, buddy.
none of the.
I'll agree. It is bullshit.
I hate the bullshit in the fishing industry. I hate people fussing about forward-facing sonar. I like it's there.
Toxicity. It's
yeah.
just a lot of yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and if you
Speaking
like
of
that, and if you like that, you probably ain't gonna like my podcast, and that's cool.
No, I think there are a lot of people out there that want to learn. I think there are people. I hope that nobody ever tunes into this show to learn something about fish. Because like last week with Christy, with Santee, he gave me some goods. He didn't give me all the goods because he won't, because he's sneaky. But I don't even like everybody that listens knows this, but I don't like asking specifics. Just because, again, there's so many podcasts. I know they're going to go on Bass U, or they're going to go somewhere else and they're going to be like, well, I was throwing a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait. This was the color blade. This was the color skirt. And so I'll get into some fishing stuff sometimes if I'm interested. Like when I had Taku Ito on, boy, I was quizzing the hell out of him.
Taku time.
Yeah, I'm like, let's.
There's a little white powder.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go. Like, give me the goods while I got you. Well, I got this guy that I don't know that well. But I'm also, it's just like here with you today, I'm very interested in people's stories and what they have going on in life currently. That's why I started a podcast, because the podcast I was a fan of outside of the fishing space, it's what they were about. It's just a conversation.
Yep.
Less than than an interview. But what you're doing, how many different pros have you got lined up right now?
8 or 10.
Okay.
And we're going across the country. So, one region is Florida, and I've got Randall Tharp in Florida.
Not a bad one.
Dude knows
Not
what
a
he's
bad
doing.
one.
Brandon Cobb in the Carolinas. I've got Rob G talking about Highland Reservoir.
I wouldn't have done anything with him, man.
Oh, Robbie G.
I've seen the Rob G clips. They're good. He throws out some juice.
Jeremy Lawyer in the Ozarks.
Yep.
Wes Logan and Kyle Welcher in Alabama. I got Todd Faircloth in Texas.
I saw the Todd clips. You had Todd clip blew up the other day. So yeah, did real well.
So, and I'm taking that and I'm clipping it down into social media just because it's a lot easier to get people to watch for a minute than it is to listen for an hour.
Facts.
But we're taking maps and like I'm pretending I'm going to whatever lake that we're talking about and I'm fishing a tournament and I'm asking him the same questions that I would ask him in a phone call. Before the off limits period, before the
it all
off
comes
limits.
back to soliciting information, don't it? It just all,
Yes.
why can't we escape this vortex?
Yes.
It just
Except,
all
guys,
comes back to
This is public. Everybody can see it. You're getting legit juice info from pros, and it's legal about how to catch them
for your tournament.
Yeah.
Now your competitors are going to be able to get it because Ben's putting it out there for the world.
But I'm pulling up maps, and I'm saying, okay,
No, it looks good, man.
Brandon, when you're talking about a drain on a herring lake, what does a drain
What
look
does it
like?
mean? What does that mean to you? Yeah.
And he's like, well, you want them long and skinny and deep like this pocket. I wouldn't go in this one. And I'm like, okay, well, what can you ride off? What's an area? Because when I go somewhere, I want to figure out, okay, you can ride off up the river in, March. You want to fish down the lake. Just to make that lake a lot smaller so I can learn to break it down. And that's what we're doing. And we're going through techniques. We're going through baits. We're going through areas. We're looking at maps. We're talking about navigation because that's a big thing.
Huge.
You don't want to take off across Toledo Bend if you don't know what the hell you're
Ever
doing.
really.
Yes. But,
Sketchy
and
place.
Todd's talking about, Todd Fairclough's talking about that. But, I know most of these guys. And, we're having fun talking about it. And I'm trying my best to get straight fishing information out there.
Yeah.
To-
Hell of an idea for a fishing podcast.
I mean,
There's a reason I never named this a fishing, like this is blah, blah, blah fishing podcast. Cause I got a lot of interest and I like to mix things in here. A little bit of music every now and then, a little bit of hunting. I got some plans this year for some different episodes for all you loyal lowlifers.
You've got a lot of loyal low-lifers.
L's are tough.
They are.
Sometimes they're tough.
Oz are hot sometimes too.
I promise we haven't drank anything.
Not a body armor
Water.
sport water.
I got my Kroger water, which, by the way, John Simpson, tournament director for the Alabama Bass Trail Extraordinaire, drummer for the band known as the Fat Rascals. I said something about Kroger earlier when we were practicing. He said, "Y'all got a Kroger here?" In the most,
Like he'd never seen
I
one.
mean, well, just like in the most insulting way ever. I was like, "Buddy, this ain't Mayberry."
And I called your podcast bullshit. Like, you've had a bad day.
I've had a bad week, dude. It happens sometimes, Just, I feel like you got to have a bad week the week before the classic because everything's just going to be so rosy in Fort Worth.
It will be.
So rosy in Fort Worth for sure. Yeah. We're going to be there. How do all the folks out there? They need to follow the Fishing University social media.
Yep. So Fishing
channels.
University on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're dropping all the clips there, and then the Take It to the Bank YouTube is where it lives.
Okay.
As far as the videos, that way you can look at the maps and see my smiling face. Ding.
Ding. I don't know if I have a ding.
I don't think we have a ding. And then any podcast platform. So Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you want to find it. Fishing University's Take It to the Bank.
There you have it. Take it to the bank. And dude, I'll say this about you. When you decide you're going to do something, you just do it too. Because you're like, oh, hey, I got the first 9 episodes done. I'm like, damn, son, you were just asking me about what microphone to use the other day. Like, you are rolling, dude. Absolutely rolling. Like, you work hard at it. And again, like you have to, if you're going to make a living.
In anything.
But especially in something that's like a passion project, something that you love, you're going to work twice as hard as you would if you could just go get a paycheck every 2 weeks, for the most part.
Dude,
It ain't digging ditches.
No, it's not digging ditches. I have worked harder in the past 5 years of owning a fishing television show and fished less
Yeah.
than I had before that 10 to 1.
Yeah.
That's why I suck at fishing tournaments right now. It's because I don't ever get to go fishing.
I fish way less than I want to. and I'm around fishing more than I've ever been.
Talk about fishing all the time.
Talk about fishing all the time, man. And I still, when I go, and this is why I don't film as many fishing trips anymore, for like the YouTube stuff, is when I do get to go, I just want to go and just not have to worry about playing to the camera and showing what I'm doing. And just, some days I just want to go. I want to go.
Like, I love duck hunting. Duck hunting is probably my favorite hunting. I got deer hunting, turkey hunting, all that. Everybody's like, well, why don't you film your duck hunting?
Nope.
I'm like, that shit's work.
That's right. Yeah, forget that.
Like, filming fishing is not just going fishing.
No.
It is work.
Yeah, it's work. Even in the way I do it. The way you do it's dang sure work with camera boats and cameramen, and, you got to put up with people like Ryan Engelman.
What a dude.
What a
guy.
And you kind of let him put it on you a little bit.
Dude.
What?
I handed him a football jig, and I'm like, you ever fished one of these? He's like, this is all I fish.
That's all he does.
All I fish is a football jig. I'm like,
in the middle of Okeechobee and grass mats, he'll find a way to throw a jig. I have seen that over the years.
So, yeah, we filmed a Kentucky Lake episode and had a big time.
It was funny. You were asking him about, on the show, his musical influences. And I could tell you were shocked by his answer because he's a rocker. Like Ryan, lead guitar player for Turnpike Troubadours, but he loves old country. He is very eclectic in his music taste, but he definitely is drawn to grunge, the 90s stuff. He likes metal. There's a lot of metal he likes. Yeah, he's turned me on to a lot of stuff over the years that I've never even really listened to. And I was a grunge baby too. Ryan's just a few years older than me, a couple years older than me, but older than me. He's an old man. He's Paw of the Fat Rascals. I actually think that's what they call him in Turnpike. He's either Peepaw. I think their bass player calls him Peepaw or Paw. I can't remember.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Don't call him that, though.
I'm 100%.
We need
I'm
him.
going to call him that.
We need him to 100% be on our side Saturday night as a guitar slinger.
He's going to shred.
He did last year. It was insane. He left his mark on the Hunt Club in Tulsa. That is for sure. So let's talk about bullshit.
Okay. Sure.
What's your take? I said I wasn't going to do it. Here we are.
I'm good.
What's your take on all the DQs? Because you asked me about the MPFL one when you got here. You're like, hey, what's the deal with that? And I've had several people ask me this week about that. Like, hey, what's your take on that? Which I've if you listen to my podcast, you'd know what my take was. But you're not supposed to listen to fishing podcasts, so you don't steal, right? Like, that's why I don't.
I'm not. Again, mine's so different than everybody else's. Mine's straight fishing.
But no, what's your take on it, man? Like, rules are rules, right?
Rules are rules. And what I have learned on being, and I'm not at Elite Series events. I don't really go to them. I keep up with them. I love still a bass fishing fanatic.
Yeah.
I watch live. I do all that stuff. But I know the people that are involved now. Not with the DQs personally, but I know.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But I know people that are, fishing the tournaments and are there and that kind of thing. And rules are rules. And rules have been broken by people since tournaments started.
Yeah.
Keith Poche and the jumping the.
I didn't know where we were going.
I'm going here. Keith Poche and jumping the dam or whatever at the deal at Rayburn. Do I think that was probably a rules violation? I think it was. Now, with that being said, Hank Parker got a slip and slide like rubber.
Hang on, I don't know the story.
Yeah, you can have to ask Charlie Ingram about this when he's on your deal. Hank, back in the 80s or early 90s or something, got a rubber mat to jump his bass boat over a beaver dam or over a something
to keep from hurting the boat,
to get it across land and back into water, and bass rode an article on it. That's what Charlie said.
Well, I remember Poche busted something out on Swindle, about jumping over something at some point or going over when they
did it when they were at Old Hickory. There was a bunch of them that did it.
Well, there was one that did it that everybody ended up in a damn hospital because of it. Remember that? You remember that?
When they got in a hospital?
Tim Horton and a co-angler. So Tim was leading the first day, and then his weight disappeared. He was disqualified. And this was Dude, I was in like this was a
2008.
long time ago. Yeah, whenever the last time they were there.
Was it Old Hickory?
Yeah, Old Hickory.
2008.
I forget who won the tournament.
Kevin Worth won it on a buzzbait.
Yeah, you're
out
right.
of Barton's Creek.
Was it 08? Yeah, it was 08. And Tim, allegedly, I'm just saying, there was a dozer trail that was made from the lake to a pond. And he had like 17, 18 pounds. And when he was running out, he stuck it. And the co-angler hit the trolling motor with his face. Bad deal. And he weighed in before anybody. And I'll never forget, like, he was in the lead, and then he wasn't. And they DQ'd him. And I can't remember what the DQ was over in particular, but, like, there was something about where this was at. It seemed like it might be kind of a fresh trail that was cut to this pond, kind of weird deal, because Old Hickory's very tough.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, with all this stuff that goes on, it's been going on for the past 50 years.
Oh, dude, I wish I would have had a podcast 20 years ago. I wish I would have been.
When Tommy Biffle was like, I got this whole creek.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
Like, they done some crazy shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And before the information rules were so stout, the amount of information that your top successful pros that you love so much and think are the greatest fishermen of all time got before they ever showed up at a lake, and waypoint, like, cards, map cards sent to them. And I mean, on Kentucky Lake and Guntersville and these kind of places, there's all kind of stuff that's going on.
But there's, it's happened forever. It sucks. I mean, there's been cheaters in tournaments for a long time. What people don't realize, and it kills me, is everything you can't believe anything you see now.
No.
You can, and damn sure nothing you read. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the entire story.
No, it never is.
It's never the entire
especially
story.
when, like, massive PR spin jobs get put on top of it, and you're like, "Woo, this is interesting."
I wish the organizations as a whole were more transparent.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. They need to be.
And I'm not calling any one of them out.
No,
they're all like
they all need to be. They all need to be.
So and so got DQ'd, and here's
Let's
why.
hear it.
Here's why.
And that's going back to, like, even the Tony Christian thing that I beat to death and talk about. Like, FLW should have full blown talked about that thing in detail right after it happened, and they would have had to adjust a lot of payouts, a lot of craziness, but it just disappears into the ether, man. And that's definitely a problem with this sport. Or when the organization's like, yeah, we DQ'd this guy, but he's the greatest of all time. We love this guy. Let's parade him out here. It's like, hang on. He can sit in the penalty box. If he broke a rule, make the statement on breaking the rule, and then it's okay. You can ask for forgiveness. That's all right too. But
people make mistakes. But nobody's perfect.
Yeah, but we don't have to just beat it to death. Like, oh my gosh, we hate it. It was almost, to me, and to a lot of Elite Series pros in particular that I've talked to, it was like they're saying it's okay. It's okay to do that a little bit, because we'll give you we'll pat you on the butt a little bit here, bud. So it's crazy, man. I had a couple reach out in the last week about some of the stuff going on in particular, and guys that are not, how do I put this?
Shit stirrers?
Yeah. Like, some of the most vanilla, stay in their own lane guys are like, that text me this week thanking me for talking about it, and just said, dude, I try to stay out of all this, but like this one, in particular has just got me, and I appreciate you speaking on it, and which, I appreciate that. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I just try to report what's going on. I try to give my take on it, give a little insider information to it. And you know what? Like, it doesn't affect me personally. I'm not in the tournament. But like you said, I know a bunch of them that are. I got a lot of dear friends that do it, that try to do things the right way. So I think that's where I get so passionate about rules in particular. Do you think, because the general consensus, and very general consensus, people that don't understand the sport that they claim to like, in my opinion, a lot of them are saying that the information rule is just stupid and it's too harsh, and oh my gosh, you're not even going to be able to talk to your favorite pro at the gas station anymore, the tackle store. That's not what these rules are about. But do you think that no information rule is too harsh?
I'm kind of on the fence, to be honest. Like, part of me says okay, let's go straight, no information. You can't talk to anybody about this.
Including competitors, fellow competitors?
No, I think fellow competitors, you should always be able to.
Somebody throws you a daggum brush hog and says, hey, man, it's the color
Yes.
I'm catching them on. Or,
Yes.
hey, drop down to 12-pound line instead of 15. That's how I'm getting more bites than you or something.
Hey, go right over here to this creek. I
Yeah.
just let, like Swindle did to Ott whenever
Yeah.
Ott was trying to win Angler of the Year, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Stuff like, I feel like competitors can always talk. And I'm so on the fence. I completely see both sides of it. Like, if it's so hard to police, number one, part of me is just like, let them get all the info they want.
Like steroids in baseball.
Let them get
juice.
on. Yeah.
Let them hit the friggin'
I like watching
laces
home
on it.
runs.
Yeah. Same.
So, like, shit.
I don't
I don't.
You're going to break the,
I'm gonna
the
tear-
low budget live desk, dude. This came from Goodwill.
Dude, y'all want to talk about low budget? You should see what I'm seeing in here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mess.
But I'm okay with that. Like, if they want to get info, get info. If they want, if let's let everybody do it. And then I'm also okay with the completely opposite side. What sucks is for guys, Brian New was fishing with me when they announced the schedule on Lake Murray. And he had to call Lisa a year out. We were filming a TV show. And he had to call Lisa and say, hey, the schedule came out literally 30 minutes ago.
While I'm on the water.
I'm on
with
the
a
water
friend, yeah.
filming a TV show. And she's like, oh, that's okay. I didn't know nothing about it. He obviously knew a lot more about Lake Murray than I would have.
Of course, yeah, he's from there.
Yeah, but it's hard for guys, with the tournament on Lake Murray, and he's a fisherman just like we are, that all of his buddies are fishing on Lake Murray all the time. Like, it makes it hard for him to be able to talk.
Yeah.
And the policing of it to me is so, you've almost got to look at intent.
No, you do. Intent is huge.
Is the whole thing.
Intent's huge. Like, if
it's not a black and white rule.
If Brian New's buddies are going, yeah, dude, I caught 20 pounds on a flat sided crankbait this weekend. He didn't ask for that. That's why I'm not DQing Brian New. And that's where I think the fans are so confused on how the rule goes, that if you walk up to Billy Bob, pro fisherman at the Walmarts, and you go, hey, man, green pumpkin brush hog, man, on Carolina rig on secondary points, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't get them disqualified. Like, now, if they go, you tell them that, and they're going, well, which creek are you in? That's where they overstep the rule, in my opinion. And again, that's where that intent comes in.
It's hard to police.
It's because for everybody that does get busted, and I think you'll see more this year, because it's obvious they come out of the gate swinging a little bit, because last year there were a lot of talk, a lot of chatter, and then we finally saw a DQ late in the season, but it was after a ton of chatter, and now you've kicked off 2 weeks in a row, the first two elites. Will somebody get DQ'd from the Classic, Ben Belo?
Ooh, we should put some money on. Like, we should have a money line.
I mean, they're not. They seem like they're not playing.
I don't think
They're not playing.
I don't think they're playing. I don't think anybody's going to get DQ'd from a Classic.
All right, let's talk Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wind this down with some Classic talk for the people.
It's the Catalina wine mixer.
It is, man. And if you're not planning on being there, shame on you. And I understand some people are a long ways away. Fort Worth's not close for, dang sure not close for us, but Knoxville will be next year. We'll be back on
2026.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I've already got a venue for the Low Budget Live already knocked out there. Same place that we were last time. Can't wait. But it's such a great event. Such a great event.
It really is.
So much fun to me, and I know you probably feel this way with the TV show, especially. It is where, because I, like you said, talk about low budget if people could see what you're saying. I sit in here looking at this camera talking, twice a week and saying, hey, low lifers, and you see people in the comments, but getting to go to the Classic, I get to meet the people that consume this show, that get to tell me stories. Like, it's the coolest 3 days of my year, every year. And then, of course, doing the Low Budget Live thing, the live, party. It has just become this thing.
Hootenanny hoedown.
Yeah, it has just become this thing where it's industry people. That's how I tried to describe it to the bar that we're playing. I'm like, it's industry people from the fishing industry meet fans of the fishing industry mixed with professional anglers. Like, it is just this melting pot night.
How many guys that had fished the Classic last year were
crazy.
there?
That was crazy. Like,
They had just got done. They weren't fishing the next day.
didn't make the cut.
And were letting their hair down.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went to go use the bathroom. We were taking a break, trying to get to the bathroom because that place was packed. And it's just like half the Elite Series that just fished the Classic. I was like, what the hell are y'all doing? Aren't y'all tired? And they stayed with us for a long time. But it is, man. It's such a cool week.
Give me your one pick. Who's going to win the Classic, Luke Duncan?
Livesey.
Dude, he's so freaking good.
He's so good.
He's so good.
And I just don't think – I mean, dude, I'll put Milliken up there too. I feel like that's I feel, he's not a Texas local, but he might as well be now. You know what I mean? Like, I think he understands big bass. And dude, I don't even know who all qualified, to be fair. Like, I've not really studied the list to be making picks, but I immediately go Livesey because I do feel like with the weather trends, the way they're headed, it will be a big weight shootout potentially, for 3-day total. Like, could definitely be that. And one thing about Livesey, he don't back down from a gunfight.
He likes them big gals.
Yeah, and so he knows how to get that done. But I think, and I've read a lot. I've been reading a lot of the articles leading up to it, and that's the talk. They started practice, I guess, today.
Yesterday,
as we're recording. Oh, did they? Yeah, as we're recording this, big crazy winds. Of course, then they practice 2 or 3 days, and then they get all the festivities start. Like, it's a crazy,
such a crazy,
it's a crazy week,
fish.
man. It's a crazy week for them. And I was actually texting with Milliken yesterday about it, and just I was actually full disclosure telling him, I don't give a damn if you're leading the Bassmaster Classic. You're coming to Low Budget Live Saturday. I'll read you the text. And he goes, dude, I'm there. We'll see. And I said, if you're leading it, you're not coming. And I'm actually not going to allow that. But I was giving him a hard time about it. And he seemed like he was really looking forward to it. But like yesterday, he was having equipment issues. He was trying to get a trolling motor fixed that something had gone wrong, and he was trying to get something else. And he's like, yeah, just scrambling right here in the 11th hour before my second Bassmaster Classic practice starts. But I do know that, his approach with giant bass and his big swim bait love, I think about a guy like Zaldane too, dude. I mean, this is just, I think this will be one of the coolest classics potentially. Fingers crossed. I don't know a lot about the lake, but I think last time it was June because of the COVID thing. It got bumped to a few months later. It was in the summer. It was still a good classic.
Yeah.
Still a good classic.
The only bad thing about being at the Bassmaster Classic is I don't get to watch the Bassmaster.
No, you don't know anything that's going on.
You walk by a TV and you're like, oh, who's winning? And then you go shake some more hands and talk to people.
Yeah. Every night when I finally get like calmed down and I'm sitting in my underwear about to fall asleep, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a tournament going on every year. And I don't know any details, and I don't know. People be like, oh, did you hear what happened with blah, blah, blah today? And I'll be in the express booth or whatever. I'm like, no, I haven't seen that. I've been right here all day long because there's just so much going on within the one event. But what do you think it takes for 3 days to win the Classic?
68, 65, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay. I don't even know what their record is for 3 days, but I think a place like that could break it.
Probably. I've not heard that much about Ray Roberts. Again, I was at the Classic.
It's Texas.
It's Texas.
It's got 7 to 10 pounders just market,
Yeah. No, I think I would say, somewhere in that 22 a day range, 23.
I'd say so.
You may see the deal is you're going to see somebody bust out with a 26 or a 28 or something.
Probably.
Mega.
Yeah.
But the odds of being able to
we see a 30 bag in the Classic?
A dirty 30? I don't think you do.
Okay.
If this was a regular tournament, possibly.
It's just so much going on, man.
It's the springtime. Okay. If this was in July, I obviously probably wouldn't see a 30 in July. But the deal with the practice that most people don't realize until you really start studying and talking to these guys is they get 3 days, then they're off a day. Then they practice one more for official practice where they get to line up and then they're off another day. And then they go fish the tournament.
And then it's wide open.
This is spring of the year.
Changes by the minute.
It changes every single day. Mm-hmm. So your first day of practice is 6 days ago, 7 days before the Derby starts. Like, it's whoever can adjust is the
I
winner.
legit think that practice is worthless in the Classic.
Yeah.
Other than just finding an area you're comfortable in, but you're not going to find the winning fish the Friday before.
No.
I don't think anybody's ever said that, right? And I think that as it develops, we've seen that, like when Christy just won Santee Cooper, and he talked about that on the show. He had 1 day of practice, basically, when he came from the Bassmaster, and he said, dude, if I'd have fished all 3 days, I might not have won. Because it was really cold the first couple days, and then but things started evolving. They started changing. Then we had an off day. Then they had a cancellation day. And so then it had another 2 days for things to kind of take shape. And he adjusted on the fly all 3 days. And I think that's always what we see with the Classic. It's a guy that's got a general idea of what he wants to do maybe after practice and the ride-arounds and all that, but starts to really put it together by like day 2 of it.
And that's something that's super important. That's something we actually talk about on the Take It to the Bank podcast, Luke.
Oh, you have a podcast?
I do have a podcast.
I didn't know.
No, legit is hey, what's one thing that can screw this up? Rising water, falling water, dirty water, clean, what is one thing that screws everything that you're talking about up? Just, it changes. And most people, I know one of my biggest faults when I first started tournament fishing was, okay, let's go look at, I caught them here in practice. I'm going to go back there, even though it was cloudy and the water was dirty. And I caught them on a crankbait. And then I kept throwing a crankbait, even though it was sunny and the water had cleared up, and
Stuck with it too long.
stuck with it.
Trying to make them do what you want them to do.
But you got to change. And the guy that changes the best will win the Classic.
Who's your pick?
Oh, you already said Lee Livesey. How can I?
Yeah, you can't price is right that's tough.
I know that's pretty tough. I'm going with my man Wes Logan. He is fishing extremely good right now.
Yeah, he is.
He and I are really good friends, and dude's catching them.
Is he always just pissed off? I've known Wes a long time. He's just a little mad little turd all the time, ain't he?
He just acts like it. He ain't that mad.
I know.
He's like a little ball of hate. I just hate to lose.
I don't know.
But my favorite thing to do is just get him riled up.
It's not hard.
No, I'll try to, and then just watch him.
Yeah.
Go off somewhere.
He came in, he had a bad day one of the days at the Santee MPFL, and Fat Cat, who, is just
Fat Cat.
Fat Cat.
He's just regular cat.
Yeah,
he's
not
not
regular
fat
cat.
anymore.
He's skinny cat now. Yeah, but Fat Cat's always carrying on, and Wes was just like stone face coming through the weigh-in, and Fat Cat goes, Jesus, what's his deal? I was like,
It's just Wes.
what? That's just Wes.
Wes.
I was like, don't be offended by it. He goes, well, I'm not, but damn. He's like, he seemed really pissed off. I said, because he was.
He is.
He didn't catch him like he wanted to.
No, he. I think it's going to be a shallow water derb.
I hope so.
I think it is. It's a full moon in March.
Did you solicit that information?
I did solicit this information from Todd Faircloth on Take It to the Bank podcast.
Gosh. I've just set you up on the tee too many times.
I'm not even trying. Dude.
I'm not either.
Bell tie fast.
Yeah, I'm just throwing them.
No, Todd Faircloth says in Texas they're going to be spawning on the full moon. It's
Okay.
on the full moon in March, and it's
Here we are.
full moon in March. There's a warming trend. I think my man Wes Logan can go win him a Classic in the shallow.
Oh,
dirty
dude, that
water.
would be cool.
That would be.
That'd be cool.
I mean, let's be real. It's going to be one scoping, but
Oh, wait. You just contradicted everything
No.
about the Take It to the Bank podcast. You said, well, we talk about this on Take It to the Bank. You're like,
I'm
well,
just
actually, it's going to be one scoping.
I'm just kidding.
I'm only being serious.
It could possibly be one scoping.
It's going to be one scoping. It's going to be one scoping. But it could be shallow scoping.
Could be.
But I feel like as long as you got that little thing up there on the front deck, somebody's going to be using it in Texas.
Cheater
They're
box.
like, cheater box, live scope, damn
damn
spotlighters.
cheater
Yep, the old cheater box. Indeed. Somebody's going to win with it.
Somebody's going to win.
Will we see a big swim bait with a Classic? Gosh, I hope so.
You'll never see a big swim bait win a 3-day event.
Agreed.
Never happen.
It'll play.
Will a big swim bait?
As far as like all 15 fish getting caught on it.
Yeah, never going to happen.
I agree with that.
You will see a big swim bait put a bass or two that could be a difference maker in the boat.
It is hard to catch them 3 days in a row on it because something always changes and they get wise.
Yep.
Okay. All right. You heard it here. You can take that to the bank. Am I right? Am I right?
Wait,
Hey.
where's
Well, it's not a rim shot.
I tried.
Give me this. Thank you guys. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. Thank y'all so much. You can take that to the bank. All right, Ben Belo, thank you for coming to
I've had a blast.
to the bar and grill, buddy. We'll have to do it again very soon.
I concur.
Fishing University on Instagram, the Facebooks. Are you still on Snapchat?
Y'all
That's
be
called a callback, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that's called. We're going to take you out with a little bit of
all your good-looking female listeners better stay out of my Snapchat. All three of them.
Damn, you're being generous. I don't know that I have three. Well, I do have three.
My wife
female.
and your wife.
Well, that's true. We got two.
Yeah.
Two. Well, there may be five then. Oh. There may be five female lowlifers. I don't know the triple threat's a lowlifer most of the time.
She got to listen to you now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's like, why do these people even listen to this? This is ridiculous. I don't disagree with her. Y'all go follow this man right here. Check out the Take It to the Bank podcast. If you're in one of the areas that he's talking about, I promise you it's going to be a lot of juice.
Covering
thrown out
everybody
there.
in the country.
It's going to be very, very big deal for you, I believe, buddy.
Well, thank you.
And an even bigger deal in closing here.
Birdie Social Club.
Birdie Social Club is where it's at.
come
This
on.
is your final warning on the podcast. And then I'll warn you a bunch on social
This
media.
week.
This is it. March 22nd, 8 p.m. Birdie Social Club live podcast, music with the Fat Rascals. If you've been, you know that you don't need to miss it because it's a large time. And I really am expecting, and fingers crossed, weather permitting, but I'm expecting this to be the biggest one we've ever had.
I think so.
I am. We'll see.
It'll be like that T-shirt that we had in my fraternity when I was in college. If you remember it, you weren't there.
Exactly. I don't really remember any of the low budget lives. Hopefully this year will be different. I'm going into it. Dude, I hadn't drank in a while. I'm going into it sober.
You might want to get practiced.
I know. I probably need to start now. I don't know. We'll see. We'll take y'all out with some Highway 64. We'll see y'all. If you're going to be in Fort Worth, I'll see you there. If not, I will stream to the best of my abilities Birdie Social Club, not the music because we'll get kicked off YouTube, but I will broadcast the podcast part of it. I got some guests lined up. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see y'all later on. I don't know if there'll be a Thursday show this week or not either because I will be en route or already in Fort Worth, but we will we'll see what we can do. See ya.
I'm sitting here tonight next to the big river in Memphis. And no matter how I try, I just can't leave Tennessee.